Number one, to have to do with, right? Have to do with. This just means be related to, be concerned with, to be about. Basically, you could substitute it with be about. This example sentence says, the recent complaints have to do with the new road rules. You could say, the recent complaints are about. The recent complaints are related to. So to be about, to be related to be associated with. That one's pretty easy. Number two, overlap. So this one has literal meaning is something is overlapping, means it is sharing the same area. A lot of times they use it with circles. You know Venn diagram, right? Venn diagram is described as two overlapping circles. But this often is used for time and plans as well. Our time, our schedules are overlapping. So that could be a problem, or you could say, oh, we're both in Tokyo this Saturday, let's meet up for lunch, like that. So our schedules overlap. So it's used a lot to talk about timing, plans, schedules. Intonation, I think you probably are familiar with this one. It is just your voice going up and down, the rise and fall of your voice and stressing different syllables. It is intonation. Number four, cue. This is probably the one to explain the most. A cue is a signal, basically. It basically means a signal, especially a signal that tells you, okay, start now, begin now. Now is the time. Cue has a couple different meanings. It can be used when it's talking about pocket ball, like pool, the cue stick. Or here, it's talking about a signal. It can be used as a verb. A lot of times we say, I will cue you in. Meaning, I will give you a signal, and that will tell you it is your time to start. Especially if we're doing a group presentation, or we are doing some sales pitch and we are teammates. I will cue you in. So I will do something. It can be physically, like when I touch the chair or when I wink my eye. That means, okay, it's your turn now. Or it can be something I say, like I tell her, oh, when I say the word please, just any word, keyword, cue word. When I say that word, it will mean, okay, it's your turn now. So a lot of times you say, I will cue you in. It can be used as a verb or a noun. And then the rest of them, I think we know. Opposite. Opposite. The reason it is here is just because it is talking about directional meaning of the word. You can say it is opposite the police station, meaning across the street, or she is opposite the table from me. She is sitting opposite of me. So it does have that directional sense of the word, which basically just means across from, or across the table, across the road. And number six, slow down. Of course, slow down. Again, this is here just to emphasize the second meaning. It also can mean relax. Let's slow down. Let's take a break. Let's relax. And then number seven, again, I think you know the word rate. I will not even bother with that one. Any questions about any of those words? Yes.
In case of cue,
yes.
It can be, this word can have a meaning of like insight or right direction.
Insight or right direction.
Because in the business meeting or business report, we sometimes use this word in our report, like.
How so?
Like in the communication, in the marketing or communication strategy, their cue is blah blah blah, but something like that.
Their cue. I think in marketing, if it is their cue, it is kind of the way that I would understand it. That's kind of what is dragging them in. No. That's the cue. That's their signal. Again, it's when I think of the word cue, I think of like signal. If there is some advertisement or some commercial or something, and that is the cue to buy the product, that is the signal to buy the product. That is what the actual moment where they realize something. So it doesn't have to be, I will cue you and you begin or you start. I can cue you to make you buy something. British people also use the word cue to mean to make a line, a cue. So the word does have a couple different meanings. If you're using it in the marketing sense, I'm trying to think of another way that it could be used. To me, it really, in that sense, just means like signal. There might be some other way that I'm not thinking of.
And the for rate?
Yeah.
Is it same as ratio?
Ratio?
Ratio? R-A-T-I.
Ratio, yeah. Ratio, that's how you rate with a T sound. But when you see the word R-A-T-I-O, T, for some strange reason that I have no idea why, the pronunciation changes to like an SH sound. Ratio. A ratio, the difference is ratio is more of a hard kind of math number. 5/2. And you can translate the ratio into the rate. So the rate is, if it's 5/2, what are we talking about? It's a little bit different. Yeah, if the ratio of men to women in my office is 5:2, but you would not say the rate of men. You could say the rate at which men are hired, so the rate of something. Is rate always going to be talking about, have an aspect of time? No, not always. Many times rate will have time, the rate at which, this example sentence, his heart rate. So that's going to be beats per second. The rate, when I do the running, it will give you your running rate, this many kilometers per second. It's always hard to think of exact examples. I'm sure there is something where rate is not with time, but it can be the rate at which men are... Does rate always have time? I want to Google. Does rate always refer to time? It's basically the same as ratio. The most common type of rate is per unit of time. Yeah, but I'm sure there are other examples. Let me see. Ratios that have... exchange rate doesn't have time, right? Ratios that have a non-time denominator. Denominator means the bottom number. So ratio is very similar to rate, but it's different. Rate is usually going to be talking about time, so it's going to be some ratio where the bottom number is time. Not always, like exchange rate or literacy rate. A literacy rate talks about the amount of people that can read in that country. The literacy rate is, they will just express that as a percentage usually. 98.9. It's probably above 99 in Korea, but in some poor countries it might be only 80 or 90. I don't have the exact numbers. So rate. This also says you could have a rate of even like tax rate as well. So speeding.
Like rate is related to speeding.
Usually it has some time element to it, but not always is what I'm trying to say. And then ratio is strictly just like one number over another number. The ratio of men to women is 5:2. The ratio of skill to luck is 8:4. 6 to 4 probably adds to 100 in that case. But yeah, ratio is just kind of talking about the numbers and is not necessarily a mathematical term, but you can think of it that way. Any other questions?
No.
Okay, let's go to the reading. It's quite short today, 3 paragraphs. So I will read the first one, Minji number 2, Jungmin number 3. Deals really have to do with the overlap of what one side wants and the other side wants. And it's really just the discovery of where that overlap is and how you decide to get there.
I have been doing this for over 40 years. It gets easier in a ways. The more you do things, you have to be able to read the people who are opposite you. And there are kinds of ways of doing that. From listening to intonations in their voice to observing them.
When I was much younger, I realized that when I was handling something very large, like breathing rate.
Breathing rate, again, so he's talking about per second, per minute.
Increase, and that will affect my ability to think as well, as I normally would. And so I have this little... I captured the wrong song.
I have these little cues.
So when that starts happening, I slow down. You never have to speed up. You can always slow down, and when it guards